Hello, BookTube. I have a Jack Spratt little mail haul for us. One big, one little. There's only two. It's just the very first mail of the day. Two little packages. I'm hoping to continue our streak. It's not really a streak, it's just one. I'm hoping to continue with nice, calm, collected adult book hauls. No ranting and screaming at the camera. Let's see what this tiny one is, shall we? What could be so small? Oh my! Oh goodness gracious! Oh, all right. Okay, so this comes out in October. It's by Tim Crane, and it's called "The Meaning of Belief: Religion from an Atheist Point of View." Slim thing. This could actually be 1,000 pages long. Contemporary debate about religion seems to be going nowhere. Atheists persist with their arguments, many plausible and some unanswerable, but these make no impact on religious believers. Defenders of religion find atheists equally unwilling to cede ground. The Meaning of Belief offers a way out of this stalemate. There's only one way out of that stalemate, and I don't think this book is going to offer it. An atheist himself, Tim Crane writes that there is a fundamental flaw with most atheists' basic approach. Religion is not what they think it is. Atheists tend to treat religion as a kind of primitive cosmology, as the sort of explanation of the universe that science offers. They conclude that religious believers are irrational, superstitious, and bigoted. But this view of religion is almost entirely inaccurate. I promised. Let's keep going. Crane offers an alternative account based on two ideas. The first is the idea of religious impulse, the sense people have of something transcending the world of the ordinary experience, even if it cannot be explicitly articulated. The second is the idea of identification, the fact that religion involves belonging to a specific social group and participating in practices that reinforce the bonds of belonging. Once these ideas are properly understood, the inadequacy of atheist conventional conceptions of religion emerges. The meaning of belief does. So no atheist has ever understood those two things. The meaning of belief does not assert the truth or falsehood of religion. Rather, it looks at the meaning of religious belief and offers a way of understanding it that both makes sense of current debate and also suggests what more intellectually responsible and practically effective attitudes atheists might take to the phenomenon of religion. Okay. His account is based on two ideas. The first is the idea of the religious impulse, the sense that people have that something transcending the world out of ordinary experience, even if it cannot be explicitly articulated. Thing number one, we know where that sensation comes from, and just because everybody has it doesn't mean it means anything. It's a function of the human brain to see a boogeyman where there isn't one. It's a function of the human forebrain, which connects dots even when the connections aren't there. We know where it comes from. The hint here of the sense people have of something transcending the world of ordinary experience, the hint there is that there is something that transcends the world of ordinary experience, and there isn't. So you've already ceded little vital ground, but more important than that is the second objection, even if it cannot be explicitly articulated. But every single religion on earth does explicitly articulate it. The idea, the conception here that the religious are out there just sort of nebulously believing in something on mountaintops is completely wrong. And when you characterize things that way, of course, atheists look shrill and ridiculous. But actually, atheists are objecting specifically to the explicit articulation that religious people have always imposed on the rest of the world, on people who share different religious beliefs and on people who share no religious beliefs. Religion specializes in explicit articulation. They don't just say there's something out there that transcends the natural world. They say there's something out there that transcends the natural world, and we know what it is and what kind of mood it's in today. And we want that understanding of its nature and its moods to dictate our behavior and what we eat and where we go and how badly we suppress women. And oh, yeah, did we forget to mention? We also want our conception of what that thing is and its moods to dictate how you do those things. All of those things, all the time. And if you don't like that, we'll invade your country. If you don't like that, we'll push you off the top of a building. If you don't like that, we'll impose a punitive tax on you, and you'll just have to pay it because you don't believe what we want you to believe. I worry that Brother Tim Crane is going to overlook the real world tyranny that has always been the primary goal of religion. But I've fallen off the wagon. So let's try and get right back on it. This was guaranteed to upset me. Atheists, going back to John Locke, have not misunderstood religion. They know exactly what the underpinnings of religion are. Let's go on to the big one. see if we can recover ourselves. Okay. All right. Steve is happy again. This is the lovely finished copy of The Last Tutor by Philippa Gregory. This is her forthcoming novel. It comes out in August. I'm reviewing it at length for Open Letters Monthly for August, for my Year with the Tutors 2. And it is about the family of Jane Grey. When I first glanced at the description of it, I groaned. I thought, oh my God, not another novel about Jane Grey. And she is a character for a chunk of it, but it's not just about her. It's about her family, her sisters and their families. And it's really good. It's really good. There's always been an element in Philippa Gregory's historical fiction, especially her Tudor historical fiction. There's always been an element of ruthlessness that her publishers do their best to sort of counteract. You get with her novels, you get the gauzy covers and you get the bright colors and you get the petticoats and whatnot. When really, I've often thought, even going all the way back to The Other Boleyn Girl, I've often thought that her covers would be best served by just pictures of butcher shops. There's a brutality to her fiction that I don't think she gets enough credit for, and where, you know, if you're a woman and you're facing years of wretchedness and cruelty at the hands of the men around you, even if you're royal, then that's what Philippa Gregory gives her readers. She doesn't try to gussy that up or pretend that it isn't real, and that quality of brutality, it is all through this book. It's really. I know it sounds kind of weird to say, but it's really kind of nice. It's hard to read at times, but it's really nice to see that an author this successful, who, you know, could phone in a Tudor novel, and it would still lodge in the category bestseller list for months. It would still do really well. I don't know if she did phone this in. She's doing it at a level that I can't detect. I thought it was let's see what I can read you here. In The Last Tutor, 17-year-old Jane Grey is persuaded by her father and his allies to take the crown of England from the rightful heir, Mary Tudor. The newly married Jane enters the Tower of London and raises the royal standard. The redoubtable Tudor princess Mary musters an army and soon claims her throne. An act of sheer Tudor courage, for which Mary is not often credited. Regardless of what you think of what she did later on as monarch, she had options at that moment. She had options. The person who was technically written into the dead king's will as his successor had taken the tower, had taken the treasury, had taken the city, and Mary was out in the countryside, and she had options. She could have left the country. Instead, and everyone around her was, all the magnates and men-at-arms and noblemen around her were telling her to do exactly that. You know, go into Scotland, go overseas. And she said, basically, correcting for idiom, she said, No, damn it, it's my kingdom. I'm going to fight for it and take it back from whoever this is that wants it. uh, Actually, she knew Jane Grey quite well. As newly married, let me see here. The royal palace becomes Jane's prison, and when she refuses to betray her Protestant faith, Mary orders her beheading. On the scaffold, Jane turns her father's greedy, failed grab for power into her own brave and tragic martyrdom. But then the story goes on from there. It could easily be that book. I've already reviewed a book just like that for Year with the Tudors 2. Learn you to die is the advice Jane writes to her younger sister Catherine, who has no intention of dying, but instead plans a life of fashion and flirtation. But as a royal cousin, she is a potential threat, first to the infertile Queen Mary, and then to Queen Elizabeth, who will never allow Catherine to marry and bear a royal heir. When Catherine's pregnancy betrays her secret marriage, she too is imprisoned in the Tower, and from her sister's scaffold, yards from her sister's scaffold, and determined to escape the same fate. Farewell, my sister, writes Catherine to the youngest Grey sister, Mary, tiny in stature. Literally, a little person. Mary is disregarded by the court and finds it easy to keep secrets, especially her own, while avoiding Elizabeth's suspicious glare. After seeing her sisters destroyed by the Queen, Mary is acutely aware of her own perilous position as a possible rival, but remains determined to command her own life. What will befall the final tutor, or to disobey her ruthless and unforgiving cousin, Queen Elizabeth? And it's, as you can guess from, maybe not, but I'm telling you, that, as you can guess from that summary, Mary Grey is an amazing finale to this novel, an amazing character, because as cruel, as brutal as Philippa Gregory's novels always are, her historical fiction, she always tries to carve out something little, usually just a few steps outside the spotlight of what history can actually prove, but close enough so that her readers have the consolation of believing that it might have been possible. She likes to, in that space, she likes to carve out a little something, of a little place where some worthy character can be happy, even after she's stacked the decks against their happiness. And I really like that. I really do. I guess there's a long-winded way of saying she's a tremendously satisfying historical novelist, and this was a tremendously satisfying book. So there we have it. This is our Jack Spratt Mail Haul. Plenty more to come. But this is The Last Tutor, which you'll be hearing a lot about from me, as I'm going to go to 2,500 words on it. And then The Meaning of Belief by Tim Crane, who I need to have a word with. And there you go. So I'll wrap that up for now, and I'll be back soon. Lots more. Thank you, BookTube.